Hello and welcome to marketing91.com. In this video, we are going to cover the topic on Hofstede's Cultural Dimensions. Before we proceed any further, please do note that we publish 3 videos daily on YouTube. So please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Let's start with what are Hofstede's Cultural Dimensions. Hofstede's Cultural Dimensions theory is a model for interacting with different cultures. It was created by Geert Hofstede. It shows the impact of the culture of a society has on what its individuals consider important. It shows how these values impact people's actions. The framework is created from factor analysis. Moving on to the background of the theory. Hofstede is a social scientist from Netherlands. He created his framework by studying more than 88,000 staff from 72 nations in IBM subsidiaries. He built this framework based mainly on how beliefs and values differ in terms of work objectives. Hofstede model is very helpful. It gives crucial information about how nations differ and how to deal with these differences. Moving on to Hofstede's Cultural Dimensions. The original idea suggested 4 dimensions adjacent to which cultural values can be studied. First, individualism versus collectivism. Second, uncertainty avoidance. Third, power distance, as in the strength of social hierarchy. Fourth, masculinity versus femininity, that is task orientation versus person orientation. After these 4, there was an independent research in Hong Kong which led Hofstede to add a 5th dimension, that was long-term orientation, to cover aspects of values not discussed in the original paradigm. And finally, in 2010, Hofstede added a 6th dimension, that was indulgence versus self-restraint. Let's start with individualism versus collectivism. This dimension investigates the degree to which people in a society are integrated into groups. Bonds in individualistic cultures are loose. Relationships are only among an individual and their immediate family. More stress is put on I instead of we. On the other hand, collectivism shows the society has tight relationships that connect larger families and others into groups. These in-groups are filled with people who are unwaveringly loyal. They support one another if a tiff starts with a rival in-group. Moving on to the other dimension, that is uncertainty avoidance. This index shows a society's tolerance for ambiguity. People accept or avoid something that is strange, unexpected, or different from the status quo. Societies high in this index choose strict rules, guidelines, and behavior codes. They usually depend on absolute truth or the idea that only one truth decides all and one knows what it is. Being low on this index indicates a more positive reception of contrasting opinions or beliefs. Society is less strict, lack of surety is more acceptable, and the surrounding is more casual. Moving on to the other dimension, Power Index Dimension. The Power Index Dimension is the extent to which less powerful members of organizations and institutions like the family accept and expect that power is distributed unequally. In this, power and inequality come from the lower strata or the followers. If the index is high, it shows that there is a well-established hierarchy in societies. It functions in society without any interference. If it is low, it shows that individuals try to distribute power and question authority. Moving on to masculinity versus femininity. This index describes masculinity as a preference of society for achievement, heroism, assertiveness, and material reward for success. On the other end, femininity shows a preference for cooperation, modesty, caring for the weak, and quality of life. Women in different societies usually have different values. There is more care and modesty in feminine societies. Women are seen as equal to men. Women are less competitive and assertive than men in masculine societies. They still believe there's a difference between female and male values. This aspect is usually seen as taboo in very masculine societies. Moving on to the other dimension, which is long-term orientation versus short-term orientation. This dimension deals with the ties from the past with the present and futuristic challenges or actions. Being low or short-term on this index shows that traditions are valued and followed. Sticking to traditions is important. Societies high on this index or long-term see evolving and practical circumstantial problem solving as essential. An underdeveloped country that is low on the index generally has little or no economic development. Countries high up still prosper. Moving on to the final and the 6th dimension, that is indulgence versus restraint. This index points to the amount of freedom that citizens have in a society to do or get what they desire. Indulgence is described as a society that allows relatively free gratification of basic and natural human desires related to enjoying life and having fun. On the other end, restraint is a society that controls gratification of needs and regulates it by means of strict and social norms. Moving on to why is Hofstede's cultural dimensions important? The theory is very popular in many fields. It is a research paradigm. It is used a lot in cross-cultural communication, cross-cultural psychology, and international management. It can give an overall view and a rough understanding of different cultures. One can know what to expect and how to act with other countries' people. The 6-dimension model is very useful for global marketing. This is because it studies country-wide values and not just business values. Moving on, firms trying to change their services and products based on local likes and customs, they must figure out the details of the market. Example, if one wishes to sell cars in a country with an uncertainty avoidance index, one should focus on safety. In other countries, one can decide the advertisement with the social image cars provide. In global negotiation, goals, issue ranking, expectation, and communication style adapt based on the negotiator's countries. And finally, Hofstede's 6 dimensions of culture across countries. Hofstede's 6 dimensions framework lets global comparisons of culture happen. It is known as comparative research. As we briefly look at the table here, countries that score high on power distance are China, Mexico, France, India, and Brazil. When it comes to individualism, countries which score high on this dimension are Australia, Canada, Germany, France, Denmark, Finland, UK, and USA. When it comes to uncertainty avoidance, that is countries which typically have strict laws in place, are Mexico, France, Spain, Greece, and Japan. When it comes to masculinity, as in countries which are very assertive and display heroism, are Australia, Canada, Germany, Mexico, Japan, UK, and USA. So that's it, folks. This brings an end to the topic on Hofstede's 6 dimensions of culture. These are some of the sources and links referred to for the content in the video. If you have liked the video, do subscribe to our channel where you'll witness 3 new videos daily. Additionally, if you want to view these videos in an organized manner, you can visit freecourses.net where all our videos are arranged in the form of courses. Thank you and see you in the next video.